Hey guys, it's time for Down to the Wire on the Vegas Insider Network presented by BetMGM. It is a Friday, September 16th. I'm your host, Joe Madden. We are live here Monday to Friday from 6 to 7 Eastern. I'm looking forward to today's show. You guys are going to see me in the Wednesday and Friday time slot moving forward. So I'm excited for this great opportunity to be here with you today. Now, on today's show, I am welcoming in two fantastic handicappers from Vegas Insider. I'm going to start with Kevin Thomas, followed by Steven Nover. Now, we are going to be talking NFL and college football. So you guys don't go anywhere. But first, let's get to my first best bet of the day. We're going to look at the Mountain West Conference matchup tonight. We have Air Force taking on Wyoming. Now, this one has a low total of 47, but I'm still absolutely loving it. To that under. When we look at the last 14 meetings, between these two, 11 of those have hit the under. And I'm looking for both of these teams to play a solid run game here and really work that clock. We got strength in the trenches. Both of these teams are going to play that game. They're not going to play a huge passing game with these quarterbacks on the field. Air Force's quarterback, Daniel's coming out here in his last game out versus Colorado. He only had 5 passing attempts, completing one of those for 8 yards. I just don't see him looking to go deep in this game. And defensively, this Air Force team, too, is so strong. They're only allowing an average of 13.5 points per game. So this is going to be one of those games, a lower scoring if you like defense. This is where the game is at tonight. I'm absolutely loving it. But you guys, let's move on. We're going to welcome in our first handicapper to the show. We have Kevin Thomas here. We're going to be talking college football and NFL. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks. Glad to be here, and I'm excited for ACC action today. You got
We
LSU or Florida State and Louisville. It's going to be a great game, and that's my top bet. You can get over there to Vegas Insider today.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Head on over to Vegas Insider to get that. That is going to be a fantastic game, Kevin. How has the college football season been treating you so far?
It started slow as usual. Now the odds makers, I'm more of a sharp, so I like to follow those lines. So now everything's starting to smooth sail. I expect to start climbing back up to the upper echelon of the leaderboards.
I know exactly how well you do in football, Kevin. You're fantastic. So you guys make sure you go check out his picks. Let's talk about some action we have on the field tomorrow. We have Nebraska and Oklahoma going at it. Now, Nebraska in a state of kind of chaos, firing their interim head coach in here. Nebraska coming in as the dog at home in this one. Any hopes for them, Kevin?
I do. I like him here. I love the points here. I mean, just look at the pedigree. I know he's the older brother of Vance Joseph, but Mickey Joseph is going to take over as head coach and interim head coach. And he's a defensive mind right there. And, he's a quarterback, ex quarterback, brother's defense. He's in your face kind of coach. He's already had the captains in there, he had the quarterback in there. Had a great talk with them. I mean, this line went from 17 to 11. Now, I know, like in baseball, you look at the Phillies, the Blue Jays, they got rid of their head coach in season, and both teams went on tears. Great games. Nebraska, they're a great team. The problem with Scott Frost was he came from UCF. He was with Oregon and Chip Kelly. He went there, he got the up tempo. Those guys bought into it. Nebraska just never caught into the up tempo. It just didn't work out for Scott Frost. I mean, I think he's a great coach. I think maybe like another team like UCF would benefit from him, but like a Big Ten power team that needs to run the ball, play defense. I don't know. I think Mickey's going to do a great job here. I think 11 points. Both of Oklahoma's games. I mean, both of them they blew out both teams, but playing El Paso isn't saying much, and playing in Norman isn't too hard either. I mean, Oklahoma playing at home, both those games. So I think Nebraska at home. They're going to be fired up for this. Maybe the kids just didn't buy into Frost. Maybe just losing to start the season as 10-point favorites against Northwestern just shell shocked them, And then that Georgia Southern game, he had to be fired. I thought he should have been fired after Ireland, but he had to be fired, the boosters and stuff. So they paid him off and he left. So I think Nebraska can, especially the defense, they can contain Oklahoma enough to cover this points. That's why we got the 6-point drop in points so quick.
Yeah, I was absolutely shocked Scott Frost was not fired after that game in Ireland, a game that they were huge favorites in and not able to come out and get anything done. Scott Frost, he lost lots of really close, tight games with the coaching changes here with Nebraska. At home in this one, I'm with you. I think it's a great way to go, grabbing them plus the points. Any thoughts on this total? We have seen the total jump from 64.5 up to 65.5. The under has hit in 4 of the last 5 meetings, Kevin.
Yeah, if I was gonna parlay this, I would definitely do it with the under here, especially being at home. Nebraska, that was going to be their bread and butter. I mean, the defense, the last couple seasons, their defense was really good. The defense has struggled against the run. And I think Joseph, I think that's going to be his focal point, not to let Oklahoma run the ball. Now, Oklahoma does have a great quarterback, so you got to limit the damage. So I think stopping the run and playing the pass might play into Nebraska's hands here, and I think it would play into the under too.
Now we know any given day an upset can happen. Could Nebraska pull off the upset and get the money line win here? Is it worth a sprinkle?
It sure is, especially like I said, when you're a wounded dog. I mean, they're the dog. They're at home, and they're off a bad loss against Georgia Southern. And I mean, the fans were chanting "Fire Scott Frost, fire Scott Frost." So they're going to be so electric. When when the fans get what they want, they come back 100%, even more so. Oklahoma, I would probably bet Nebraska the first half because the energy is going to be so overwhelming. I think you're going to get a couple mistakes from Oklahoma. I would take the first half because you'll probably still get really good plus value on the money line on Nebraska. For the game, I would stick with the 11 points. I don't know if they're going to win. I don't think they can win out. Oklahoma has a lot of talent.
Yeah.
And Gabriel, he was an all-star over at UCF. So I'm not seeing them winning. I think Oklahoma wins by 6 points.
I like the way you're looking at this game, Kevin. Definitely a great breakdown there. Let's turn to the NFL. I know that you're a Green Bay Packers fan. We saw the Packers in week 1 do what they did last year in week 1. They came out against the Minnesota Vikings falling flat on their face. Rodgers was not able to connect with his wide receivers. They're playing the Chicago Bears on Sunday at 8:20 Eastern primetime game. Rodgers very vocal about owning the Bears. 9.5 point favorites. Total has dropped significantly from 51 to 41.5. Where are you going with this one?
Yeah, I mean, 15 and 28 for 133 yards, 22 interceptions. That's last year, week 1 against the Saints for Aaron Rodgers. And he did have Devontae Adams in that game. No Devontae Adams, no Lazard. And just disgust on his face when he threw the 60-yard bomb to Christian Watson, who bobbled it, and it would have been an easy touchdown. Probably changed changed that game right there. The Vikings, Jefferson, he just came out, lit them up, and it goes to the defense. I mean, this Packers defense is still going to be a top 3 defense. You got Zaire Alexander, Stokes. I mean, Alexander didn't even play last year, and he's already a top 3 cornerback. So you got the Bears coming in there. They have no wide receivers. Mooney, that's just one guy. I mean, Stokes can take care of him, cover him 1-to-1. They're gonna get theirs here. I like the Packers even to score on defense here. The -10, it was 8.5, went to 10. The public's overreacting to that game where the Bears scored 12 points in the fourth quarter against probably one of the top defenses, 49ers. If you watch that play, I'm pretty sure that Fields, he threw for like 120 yards. It was horrible, torrential downpours. But they were all over him. Mack and Bosa were going to crush him. And I don't know how he threw that up there, but that ball went up for about 8 minutes before it came down. And Dante Pettis, 1 catch, 51 yards, touchdown. That was the game. That changed the whole game. That was the game. That one lucky pass.
Yeah.
This Bears team's bad. They got Quinn, who's probably a superstar. up on the defensive line. He could cause problems for the Packers, but I think the Packers are going to go quick. They're not going to abandon the run so early, and they should have Jenkins back for this. I know David Bakhtiari, he's probably going to be done for his season. I wouldn't be surprised if he retires. Came back, practice. Now they're sitting him out. He hasn't practiced Friday, so they're probably going to roll him out for this game. He's just been a problem. Injuries from last year to this year. So, you got John Runyon's son out there. If we can get Jenkins back out there, I think we'll be fine. Short passes. And if we get Lazard back, he could open up down the middle, play more of a slot role, and some Tunyon. So I think the Bears are in trouble, and not even because the Packers are going to get the offense going. Aaron Rodgers hardly ever has 2 bad games in a row. I think it's going to be because the Packers defense is going to just clobber them.
Yeah, an interesting stat here when we're looking at the Packers under Matt LaFleur off a loss. They're 9-0 against that spread in their next game. I think they're going to come out strong too here. Also 4-0 against the spread in their last 4 games in week 2. What are your thoughts on Justin Fields, the quarterback for the Bears? Do you think he's ready to lead a team?
I do. I like the kid. I actually took him last year in my fantasy league. I didn't realize how bad the offensive line was for the Bears, and that's the problem. If you're not protected, I mean, his legs can only go so far, and that's the good thing about the Packers. They have some linebackers that can move, and they're not big. I mean, they do got the tanks up there on the line, but they got some young. They drafted young, and they got some free safeties, a linebacker. It's going to be hard for him to getting out. If they can roll him the opposite way, he's willing to throw it across the field the other way. We're going to pick that off. So I think he's got all the talent in the world. I mean, you're a huge Ohio State fan. You saw him play. The kid got everything, and he's got a cannon. I just think he's in a bad spot. And his 3rd coach in 3 seasons? That's just bad.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's really interesting, though. We have these quarterbacks come out of Ohio State, so successful there, but they do have their key weapons there, strong offensive line. They get in the NFL and they are drafted high. They are behind weaker offensive lines. So we have seen those struggles for each and every one of them coming out. So hopefully Justin Fields is able to break through it over the next couple of seasons and be a household name here because he definitely deserves it.
Yeah, he needs some weapons. They got to run. They got a running back, but another thing, if you can't make holes, you can't run the ball. So if they can't work off the play action, it's going to struggle for him rolling out all the time trying to throw balls. Because that thing, I'm telling you, that thing stood in the air for 8 minutes, and that was the only guy there that could have caught it. He caught it and scored a touchdown, or the 49ers win that game. That was
Absolutely.
a mud fest. That's a fun game to watch, but I felt bad for the 49ers to win the whole game and then the 4th quarter to lose.
Yeah, definitely a hard situation for them. Now, as a Green Bay Packers fan, what are your thoughts here on Aaron Rodgers this season? And will we see Jordan Love, or what are you thinking here? Is Aaron Rodgers a little washed up here? I don't think so.
I think if they lose a couple more games and he can't get on the page with his receivers, I think he might. He didn't get the toe surgery. That could become an issue again, especially if he's taking pressure like that. I mean, if you saw him on the sideline, I'm not a fan of Tom Brady, but I'll give the guy all the credit in the world. The guy is a motivator. He loves his players. I mean, Aaron Rodgers goes on the McAfee show all the time and downplays everything, and receivers got to be better. You got to do this better. Well, hell, why didn't you play the last preseason game and get a little timing? You knew we're going to have Lazard. I mean, you got two young rookies in Dobbs and Christian Watson. I mean, go out there. What's it hurt? Play one series with the guys. I mean, you get all that timing, everything. Even in that one series, it's such a fast pace. I mean, you could practice as fast as you want. When you're in that game mode, it's even faster. So I kind of blame Aaron Rodgers for the slow start. I mean, last year the same thing. No preseason, comes out dead flat, and he looked deflated over there. You saw his face over there. I know he's a mushroom eater, smoking the weed and stuff with Joe Rogan. Guy's got all the talent in the world in his arm. I don't know his character that well. I've never really talked to him, but he just seems like he could be all about me kind of guy, And you don't need that in the NFL. Like that, I give Tom Brady all the respect in the world.
Yeah, Tom Brady, one of the only quarterbacks that did not play in preseason to come out and just be there and get in that jive, although they did have problems in the red zone in that game for the Bucs. What are your thoughts here on who his number one target you think will be for the wide receiver role? Because he needs to work out which guy is going to be able to catch these balls. Is there any leans on who it will be?
I thought it was going to be Cobb in that
Yeah.
first week because they have, such a history together. But I guess without Aaron Rodgers took two sacks he shouldn't have. He's just looking downfield, holding the ball, and he's one of those guys that doesn't want to throw interceptions, so he will hold the ball a little too long. And you gotta just trust your instincts. Like, oh, I mean, that Dobbs kid, everyone's high on him. Christian Watson, I mean, like I said, that's Jordy Nelson 2.0, 6'2", 6'3", runs a 4.3 or whatever. A big, tall kid that can run. I mean, him and Jordy Nelson had great, that's who I thought it would be. I never
Yeah.
really bought into Sammy Watkins because he's injury prone and he's a little bit older. Lazard, he's good, but he's got to get on the field, and we'll see what happens there. And that might open up more things for like Watson downfield because you saw Watson, there was no one even near him. I mean, he just dropped that ball, and it's going to happen. He's a rookie, but Aaron Rodgers is one of those guys he don't forget. Drop that ball. He throw them like 3 more passes the whole game, and they abandoned the
Yeah.
run so early. You got 2 of the better running backs, and you got a running back who I thought Aaron Jones was going to become a receiver, kind of like the Debo role, but the opposite way, where he just goes out and lines up in the slot all the time because he has probably he had more, I think, the second most touchdowns behind Devontae Adams in catching,
Yeah.
and probably more yards after besides Devontae Adams.
Yeah, he's definitely got to be missing Devontae Adams out there on the field. But just a reminder, you guys, you are watching Down to the Wire on the Vegas Insider Network, presented by BetMGM. Kevin, I want to say a huge thank you for joining me here today on the show. Can you let everyone know? I know they can find your picks over on Vegas Insider, but where can they find you on socials?
I'm over Kevin Thomas 04 on Twitter. You can hit me up anything, fantasy, anything on any of the games. We can bounce ideas off each other. More heads are better than one. I have all my friends, that are cappers. We always talk about a lot of games. We make personal bets and stuff. And over at Kevin Thomas, hit me up on Twitter.
Okay, thank you so much, Kevin. It was a pleasure to talk ball with you today.
Oh, Justin Herbert, is he going to be okay for next week?
Oh, I have my fingers crossed. I was yelling at my TV for them to get him off the field last night.
I didn't even know. Brian has him in fantasy. I woke up and he's like, Herbert might be out, and I go, what do you mean? I go, I watched like till that point, and I was like, I didn't even know he got hammered that hard. So wow,
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that for Charger fans, and they should have won that game.
Oh, we should have won. Story of our lives as Chargers fans. Okay, Kevin, thank you so much. I will definitely be having you back on again. Have a great day.
Appreciate it. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you. Okay, you guys, that was Kevin Thomas. You can find his picks over on vegasinsider.com. You don't want to miss out. He kills it in football. So before we move on to our next guest, I do have another guest coming up, but I want to talk to you guys a little bit about our friends from BetMGM. Now, I want you guys to kick off the new football season with the king of sportsbooks. Sign up for BetMGM using bonus code VIBonus, and your first wager is risk-free, up to $1,000. That's VIBonus, all one word, no spaces, and your first wager is risk-free, up to $1,000. Visit betmgm.com. Terms and conditions are all there. BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Okay, I have another bet for you guys before we bring in Steven. I'm looking at Sunday's game between the Arizona Cardinals and the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, the Raiders are coming in as a 5.5-point favorite here in their season opener at home. And I really do see them coming out so strong in this one. We saw the Cardinals in their first game against the Kansas City Chiefs. They just looked absolutely terrible. Kyler Murray wasn't able to get things going. And I think this is another game where they completely struggle. Now, the Raiders, on the other hand, did lose to the LA Chargers. But in that game, we saw Carr get sacked a couple of times. The defense of the Chargers is so much better than the Cardinals. I think they're not even comparable. And with the Vegas Raiders, I think they're going to run away with this one. I do think it's going to be a lot higher of a spread when we finish it. They're going to just win this one almost by 9 points, you guys. I'm so confident in the Las Vegas Raiders here. Devontae Adams and Carr, they are going to have a phenomenal game. I see them connecting over and over. It's actually really interesting. Devontae Adams, his grandparents are going to be in the stands the first time they've been at an NFL game. I think the atmosphere in Vegas is going to be amazing. And I'm looking for Max Crosby, just to put that pressure on Kyler Murray. I think this is one of those games that the Raiders play phenomenally. They're not going to get those picks. They're not going to make those mistakes. And we're going to have a great one. But let's welcome now in our next guest, is Steven Nover to the show, Vegas Insider Handicapper. Oh, he actually isn't here yet, you guys. So you're going to have to bear with just me for another minute here. I'm going to tell you about a couple of things here we've got going on at Vegas Insider. We do have our today's handicapper heat check presented by VegasInsider.com, your home of the best expert picks in the business since 1997. Today, we are going to recognize Vince Atkins, who can be found on Twitter at SB Breakers. Now, Vince continues his hot streak last night, nailing the Chargers and the Chiefs on that under, bringing his NFL record to a smoking 9-2 on this season. He also went 10-0 in college football last Saturday, which is absolutely unheard of. And he has a parlay in tonight's Air Force and Wyoming game. So you guys head on over, check that out. Get Vince's Friday Night Lights side and total by visiting VegasInsider.com/picks or clicking his promo on the Vegas Insider homepage. That's your handicapper heat check. Stay hot, bettors. Okay, so we still don't have a Steven here. I'm going to bring him in as soon as we do. I'm just going to do a quick recap of what bets I'm looking at for tonight as my best bets. And if Steven hasn't come in, I'm going to start talking about the games that he was looking to talk about today. So for my best bets for this show, you guys, we are going to take Air Force and Wyoming under the 47 and the Raiders laying the 5.5. So let's look at the games. Steven's looking to come in here and talk. I'm excited for these. We have the Tampa Bay Bucs taking on the New Orleans Saints. Now, this one kicks off Sunday, September 18th at 1 o'clock Eastern. We have a total of this one down to 43.5, and the Bucs are coming in as the favorite on the road, laying 2.5 points. Now, they did win that first game. I really have issues with what I saw offensively out of the Bucs, just not able to get those conversions that I would have liked to see from them in the red zone. Now, we know that they have struggled versus the Saints, and I expect their struggles to continue here. The Saints really put that pressure on Brady, and we know Tom Brady is not good under that pressure. And I don't know why more teams do not play him like the New Orleans Saints do. And yes, I know we have new coaching staff here. We don't have Sean Payton. Everyone says, well, it was the Saints under Sean Payton. Well, it's still the Saints. I still see them rushing Brady, not giving him that time in the pocket. When we look at the stats here for the Bucs, they're 1-7 against the spread in their last 8 meetings versus the New Orleans Saints. In New Orleans, 2-5 against the spread in those last 7. I think it's going to be an interesting one to see how the Bucs perform. I just can't see them getting this cover. It's a +2.5 for the New Orleans Saints. I'm taking them plus those points. I'm also going to sprinkle on that money line whenever I have a dog, you guys. That I like that it's this close. I have to sprinkle on that money line because they have every single opportunity any given Sunday to get that win. The underdog is also 4-0 against the spread in the last 4 meetings between these two. I can really see this one being one of those games where the Saints do it again and they kind of own Brady. They're just going to they're going to roll with this one. We still don't have Steven here, so we're going to move on to the next game. While I do this, just let me check one thing to make sure. Yeah, he does have the link, you guys. We'll probably see him in any minute now, so don't go anywhere. Now, the Panthers are taking on the Giants. This is a 1 p.m. Eastern show or game as well. Now, the Panthers coming in here at a 1.5 point dog on the road. They didn't get the win last week. I can't see them losing this game. I think the Panthers roll in nice and strong versus the Giants in this one. The Giants played the Titans last week, and now they were down. They were able to come back, and they played strong, getting that win there. But I can't see it happening again. Daniel Jones has so many question marks for me. He did have a couple, I think only one fumble in that game versus the Titans, but he fumbles that ball. He's got to have that ball security. I think the Panthers are able to pull this one off. I really like what we saw out of Baker Mayfield in that first game, connecting with his wide receiver, DJ Moore. And I think we'll see a lot of that. Now, my only issue with Carolina stopping New York is Saquon Barkley. He is absolutely phenomenal. What we saw out of him versus the Titans, he dominated that game and was definitely one of the best players on that field out of that game. So the Carolina Panthers are going to have to really make sure that they contain him to be able to get this win in this one. But I think they have every opportunity to pull it off. So I'm going to ride with the Carolina Panthers plus the points. Again, sprinkling on that money line. Let's move on to the next game. We have the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the Cowboys, we know Dak Prescott is out. Heartbreaking for Cowboy fans. I was in Nashville last weekend and seeing fans that were Cowboy fans with their jerseys on basically looked like they had tears in their eyes, you guys. Losing Dak again, it makes me wonder, can he stay healthy once we get him back? Now we have Cooper Rush coming in for Dak Prescott. The Cowboys, 7.5 point dogs in this one at home. Just looked terrible with Dak Prescott last week without him. I think actually Cooper Rush looked a little bit better than Dak did. Now the Bengals coming in here on the road, 7.5 point favorite here. They had a heartbreaking loss in their last game versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. They couldn't get it done. They couldn't convert that field goal to win that game. It got blocked. There was so many blocked field goals. This was a heartbreaking one. And a game where people really question what I was saying, because I did take Pittsburgh to win that game because I thought the Bengals would overlook them. And yes, divisional rival, but I think they overlooked them in a way they didn't think that the Pittsburgh Steelers would come out so strong. So the Steelers able to get the win in that one. It was a tough, hard-fought battle by both of these teams, and both teams made mistakes. Now, I'm looking for the Bengals to come into this one, play a smarter game. Joe Burrow's offensive line let him down so much versus the Steelers. Now, the Steelers did lose TJ Watt in that game. In this one, looking at the Cowboys defense, I don't think they're going to be able to do what the Steelers defense did. I'm going to rely on the Cincinnati Bengals to come in here, have a big bounce back in this one. I'm going to lay the 7.5 points with them. I think they come out strong and they get the job done. Now, this total is interesting in this one. So it opened at 43.5, down to 41.5. With what we saw offensively out of both of these teams, I am still leaning to that under. If this number goes any lower than 41.5, I would, and hitting like close to that 40 mark, I jump on the over. I think it's a really interesting line where the game's probably going to hit right on that number of 41. So right now I like it under, hits 40, I'm going to like it over. It's a tight window, but I think this is going to be one of those tight games. Now the under is 5-1 in the last 6 meetings here between these two. Okay, so the last game we were going to talk about was the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers. We've already talked about that with Kevin, you guys. So quick show today. I apologize that Steven didn't make it in today. I hope he is okay. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me here today. I want you to remind you that Down to the Wire is here every Monday to Friday from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock Eastern, right in that time slot. I will be joining you guys on Wednesday to Friday. So I appreciate your support. I appreciate you guys tuning in to the show. I want to tell you quickly about the Vegas Insider app that we have. Now, if you love what we do here at Vegas Insider, you're going to want to check out the brand new Vegas Insider app. We've got up-to-date, easy-to-navigate odds in every major sport. We have all our latest shows, best bet videos, and podcasts right there so you guys can see me even more. Pods, trends, futures, and news all on one free Vegas Insider app. Download the Vegas Insider app right now on Apple and Android. Bet better with the Vegas Insider app. Okay, guys, that is it. I want to wish you guys all a happy Friday. Thank you again so much for joining me here on Down to the Wire. I'm your host, Joe Madden. It was a pleasure being here. Until next time, keep smiling, and you know the drill. Let's make some frickin' money.